I have just had a really fantastic chat with Margaret Jenkins, who is the general manager of the House Hotel, all about Galway food from the past to where it's at now and where it's heading into the future. And we also spoke about the Galway Food Festival, which is coming up next month. Boom. So, Margaret, thank you so much for meeting me, first of all.
Delighted.
How important is food in Galway, and especially for your business?
Well, as a hotel, we're hearing from Fáilte Ireland and the Irish Hotel Federation that food tourism is growing and growing at a rapid rate. You can hardly pick up. Every magazine now is giving over a huge amount of pages. All media have food slots. It is a huge driver for tourism and for people as something to do. So it's hugely important. So it's not something that can be ignored.
Give me a quick snapshot in a few words of kind of the best of food here in Galway.
I think it depends on what you determine as your best, but Galway has a huge variety. I mean, we've got 2 Michelin star restaurants. We have a raw sushi restaurant in Galmont Hotel. There is your casual fine dining concept restaurants. I mentioned already that one of my favourite restaurants would be Il Vicolo. A lot of the sharing plates, it's done really well. Huge importance is placed on food provenance there, but it's really stayed true to what it is. The same with Cava, casual dining. There's a food culture being created in Galway, and it's around celebrating. It's Galway's social media. It's about being at the table and enjoying time with friends over food, and that's what food was always historically about. So.
And you are part of the Galway Food Festival committee.
Yes.
How important is it to have a dedicated food festival here in Galway?
It brings all of the food stakeholders together, from producers, restaurants, hotels. Galway has a huge amount to offer, and the food festival allows us to showcase that. Like it or not, we are in competition with other cities that have Michelin stars, or that will be drivers for customers to choose those destinations, and obviously within Ireland as well. If you're looking at what city do we go to, if food is something that you're interested in, you need to know, and it needs to be out there, that Galway is a food destination. So they may not come just for the food festival, but it is important that the food festival is there to kind of pinpoint Galway as a food destination, and it would be devastating to see anything happen to the food festival.
That's interesting you say that, because recently Litfest, the Literary Food Festival in Ballymaloe in Cork, announced that they're finishing up. They won't be going ahead any further. I can only assume that perhaps that's, maybe you know better than me, there's a huge amount of planning and work in the festival. Maybe it's funding problem, but could you ever see the Galway Food Festival maybe going down the same route?
There's a huge amount of people that are very passionate about the food festival on the committee, but it comes down to funding at the end of the day, and we're hugely reliant on every source of funding that the food festival has, whether it be council funding, corporate funding, from our partners in our producers, participants. Every penny is spent, and it's a not-for-profit, and sometimes it goes into loss making, but as I said, there's people on the committee that really drive it, and the city council and the county council see the importance of it, and I'm sure they're aware as well of the benefits of food tourism to Galway, and also that we have 2 massive titles coming up in Galway. We have the European Region of Gastronomy, which we are in, and it's important that Galway has a festival to showcase all of the food, that all of the food outlets that we have, and all of the producers along with that, and I suppose to focus restaurants and producers on constantly improving where we're going with food. That's something that I have noted, that even with ourselves, with the hotel, it does get you thinking, God, we're a part of this now, and we're singing from this hymn sheet. So, we need to be supporting local. We need to be pushing out artisan products. And we're educating the consumer, and then the consumer is coming back and demanding, this standard, and rightly so. So Food Festival is bringing up the standard of food in Galway.
Very good. I know you're on the committee and you're promoting Galway food, but not food in any city is not always great. There's always bad parts to food everywhere. So what are there bad areas in with regard to food in Galway, and more importantly, how are you maybe trying to change them, or how can they be changed over time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's any bad areas as such. I think there's little gems everywhere you go, and because the profile of food in Galway is so big, we're food snobs at every level. I mean, even the students of the city eat quite well. I know you mentioned that you were in NUIG recently, and the standard of food up there is excellent. And even from a lower level, there's such fabulous food outlets in Galway for minimal pricing. I mean, Dobros are a huge success story in Galway, so you can eat quite well on quite a low budget. I would say that there is definitely a reliance on opening chains in Galway, and that's something I hate to see. Galway is unique because of the bespoke businesses in Galway, because they're independently run, because their business owners are passionate about the products that they have, and that's difficult to get with a chain. If we start letting in all of these chains, Galway is going to be as homogenous as any other city in the world, and we're going to lose that uniqueness about Galway. So I think the city planning have a responsibility to Galway to keep it unique, and to keep out those or to keep those chains at a really low level, and ensure that they conform to our to our rules, our shop frontage, everything, and that that they're not crippling the independent local restaurant or outlet that's trying to do something really different for Galway and benefit Galway, make a bigger impact on the local market and on tourists that come to Galway.
I know your family is quite kind of synonymous with Galway food. You've had many restaurants down through the years. So you've seen the restaurant scene from when you were younger change over time in Galway. How has it changed? Has it changed drastically?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, first of all, the quantity of restaurants in Galway is obviously, it's absolutely skyrocketed from what it used to be. Just the amount. I mean, we get a lot of guests that come to this hotel that say, I haven't been here in 20 years, I can't believe, or 15 years, the amount of change that has come about Galway. I still think it has an element of the importance of hospitality. Is there, a restaurant isn't just for dining, it's about atmosphere, it's about experience, and that element has held strong in the Galway food scene. It's of course there's a strong emphasis on the food and the quality of the food, but a restaurant experience is that it's a dining experience, and it's all the other elements that creates the atmosphere that are important as well. So that's something I don't think has changed. People want a host when they come into the restaurant, and they want to see that person who's looking after everybody, that there's someone on the floor. They might be having the banter at the table, they might be reading what the needs of the guests are, whether they're stressed when they've arrived, or whether it's an important occasion that they need to be looked after. That is hugely synonymous with Galway.
Yeah, that level of hospitality, I think it's an Irish thing even, because I've worked outside of Ireland, and we're renowned outside of Ireland for Guinness and potatoes, but also hospitality is a huge one. Yeah,
I mean, you see the Irish running massive hotels in Dubai and all over the world, London, and you're right, we have the banter and we have that level of hospitality that's required to be able to create that atmosphere that's needed, and to make people feel welcome and comfortable.
Normally I ask people that I talk to, chefs and restaurateurs, where would you like to see Galway food in 5 years' time? For you, I think, because you probably know more than most, because you're have been in Galway for so long, and you're on the food festival committee, and you're really driving food here in Galway. Where will Galway food be at in the next couple of years?
Yeah, well, I suppose Galway is diversifying. I've mentioned that we're obviously the European region of gastronomy. In 2018, we're holding the title of Galway 2020 Capital of Culture, European Capital of Culture. That is going to diversify Galway. I would like to see more varieties and more cuisines coming in, more multicultural cuisines coming into Galway, but always having an emphasis on food provenance and on celebrating, what is on our doorstep, supporting the local producers and celebrating the local producers. The Galway Food Festival and the European region of gastronomy have given that platform to food producers, and they've raised the profile of food producers to an extent that restaurants are listening and customers are demanding these produce, and it's increasing the demand for using those produce, and that in turn is obviously creating a better guest experience for food customers in Galway. So I think that it's not any one cuisine, it's that variety of fine dining down to our casual market food. Our Saturday market there has some of the best food in Galway. I mean, I stock up my freezer with the beautiful curries, and the I find it hard to pass the crepe stand, but that level of food in Galway is just as important as our Michelin stars and as our fine dining restaurants. So that quality across all ranges of food, I think, is what I would like to see, and to move away from that service station panini and food in cellophane. I think that's what needs to go, that packaged, mass-produced element. I think we need to have an appreciation for what's our food provenance and what's fresh and seasonal.